Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I've got a fragrance review today by the house of Jivago. Let me show you what the bottle looks like. The fragrance is called Exotic Noire, and here it is in its special stand. So we have this black bottle that sits in this stand here, so it looks rather impressive, and you have this orangey copper coloured cap and details in the writing and a sort of stone effect on the top. So that is the bottle. This is an eau de parfum created in 2015. The House of Jivago is owned and run by a lady called Ilana Jivago, and she is the creative director, but they don't release the perfumer details, so I can't tell you who the perfumer is, but Ilana is the creative director for all of the perfumes. So Exotic Noire came out in 2015. It is marketed towards females and it's called an amber floral on Fragrantica. Notes are, so here comes the cat. Hello sweetie. Notes are tagettes. Tagettes are marigolds, so it's a marigold scent. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to touch back on that in a second. Divana, which I think is a fruity note. Blackberry, liqueur, tulip, ebony, red sandalwood, osmanthus. And that's all of the notes. So marigold or tagettes is a very strange flower in my opinion. It's actually not a note that I really enjoy. I got to smell marigolds last time I visited my mum in France, which was absolutely ages ago. I've not seen my mum now for a year and a half, coming up probably, yeah, about a year and a half, which is really sad, but I spoke to her today. And I got to smell marigolds in her house in France. And I already had discovered that I generally didn't like the note in perfume. I kind of figured out what it was in a couple of perfumes I didn't like, and it was this marigold note. And I smelt the actual flowers, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not a pretty flower scent. It's kind of aromatic, savoury, herbal-ish. And when I looked it up on Fragrantica, they describe it as a fougere type smell. So, and that kind of makes sense for this fragrance. So I would say that the marigold is quite a dominant note. It doesn't take, it's not the main note. Everything blends very nicely together, but bear in mind before we get going with the full review that marigold is a prominent note in here. If you know how you feel about that, then that will guide you as to whether this will be of interest to you. So let's get into how it actually performs on my skin. I say performs, we'll touch on performance, but how it smells on my skin. So the opening notes, I've just sprayed my hand now. The opening notes kind of make me think of, now this is really weird. So when I first unboxed it, to me it was very kind of plummy and rich and exotic, but as I've got to know it a bit better, it does make me think about hairdressers' salons. It just really takes me to the hairdressers. It's very strange. I can't quite explain why. It might be a little bit shampoo-y. So it kind of smells, it does smell plummy. It smells rich and rich-ish, plummy, kind of red fruits, but soapy at the same time. So rich and fruity, yet clean and soapy at the same time. And I can smell just a hint of dry woods underneath. So underneath that fruity and very clean soapy smell is a hint of woods underneath. This one seems to be quite different from the other two that I've tried. So I've got 24K and I've got The Gift. And 24K was a 90s fragrance, came out in 94 I believe, and that is a really bright, fresh floral, clean but not mega soapy, but a little bit soapy maybe, and then kind of a very light amber underneath. And I really like the clarity of that, the clarity of the florals, the freshness and the cleanliness is very reassuring. And then the Gift, which is a really lovely musky scent, quite soapy. I believe it's aldehydic, although aldehydes aren't listed. But it has that kind of clean soapy aldehyde feel, but very, very musky, and another sort of clean floral element to it. So I really enjoy both of those. This one's very different. Now you would expect it to be, because it's in a black bottle and it's called Exotic Noire. So you expect it to be very dark. I wouldn't say it's really dark, but it does have a darker feel. It feels slightly peppery and woody. It feels more modern, and it also feels like it could be aimed at men. So it almost has that slightly fougere feel, that kind of soapy aromatic smell that you can sometimes get from men's fougere fragrances. It doesn't feel like a typical man's fougere. It does not smell like Brut. Don't worry about that. But it's like you took a lady's floral musky perfume and you kind of combined it with a man's fougere. So what I'm trying to say is very much unisex. It's totally, anyone can wear this, 100%. So don't worry about the marketing. If you're a chap, you can absolutely rock this. It's got sort of like a sweetness to it that does remind me of modern men's perfumes as well. So it could even be, for example, a flanker of one of the, it could be a flanker of Le Male. It's got something about it that makes me think, that sweetness that can be in sort of modern men's fragrances. But I'm not entirely sure how to explain it. It might be the fruitiness. There's a slightly honeyed, peachy feel when you get further into it. It reminds me of peach skin, and I wonder if that's coming from the osmanthus, because osmanthus is usually going to smell of apricots and or leather. I don't get any leather from here, but I do get this kind of fruitiness that to me is maybe more peachy than apricot, but potentially that's just the way I'm picking it up. But it does remind me of the soft fur of peach skin, so there's almost that texture that comes with it. It's got this sort of clean, musky fuzziness about it in the further dry down. As you wear it, the fruitiness kind of gently subsides. Now when I say fruitiness, do not think fruit cocktail, fruit salad, fruity liqueur. It's nothing like that. It's not a particularly rich or sugared or fake smelling fruity smell. It's a light, it's a transparent fruity scent, slightly plummy, then slightly on the peachy side, but nothing really heavy and fake about it. As you wear it, the fruits do really mellow out, and you'll feel the florals. So you've got the marigold and the tulip. Now I really couldn't tell you what tulips smell like. I can tell you what they look like, and I love that glassy, rubbery look of the leaves. But I really do not know what tulips smell like. This smells like there's flowers in here, but they're not any flowers I've smelt before. It's like a floral accord of pretty flowers, but not really heady, not rose-like, not white floral-like, nothing sharp, nothing screechy. Quite a mellow, almost like imagine wildflowers, different coloured wildflowers in a meadow. That kind of floral feel that you can't quite pinpoint, but you just know it's floral. The further this dries down, the more it becomes very much a musky and clean woods type fragrance, very smooth, and the sort of the fruits and the flowers do sort of gently subside, and you mostly have this clean woods, a bit like a cedar wood. I know we've got red sandalwood in here and ebony, but to me I don't ever feel like there's a really dark woods in here. It doesn't feel like ebony. It does feel more like light woods, light and transparent woods. I do detect sometimes what I believe might be a touch of ambroxan, but it is not in any way a big dose at all. It's totally, like, I'm very sensitive to ambroxan these days, but it's totally acceptable, and it's only if I go right up close and really examine the perfume that I think there might be a bit of ambroxan in there, but I could be wrong. So in the far dry down, what I really get is this soft, musky woods, but I also feel like there's a slightly vanillic touch. Whether there's actual vanilla in here, I don't know. Could be that there's a slightly vanillic resin, a tiny hint of a benzoin perhaps, or a tolu balsam that's not listed, but just the merest whisper of vanilla-ish type thing blending in with the soft clean woods and the musk. And that's really the whole development of the perfume for me. Although sometimes as you wear it you pick up a couple of other little elements as you go along, that kind of explains it, how I experience it. This isn't the biggest performer on my skin in terms of projection, so it feels a little more intimate. It's got a good projection for the first hour to 2 hours, then it's close. It's not a skin scent, but it's a normal kind of you know, just radiates enough for you to catch whiffs of it as you're wearing it for the next 6 hours or so. And then the far dry down is just a skin scent, and you do then obviously have to get quite close to be able to smell it. So that is everything. I believe I've got a discount code for this, so I'll pop the link in the description box below. This was sent to me for review. Full disclosure, I should have said that at the beginning. This was sent to me by Jivago, and thank you very much to Jivago for sending it to me. And that concludes my review, and I will see you in another video. Bye.